Let me show this part. I want to talk about going to the main topic of this episode, which is going to be the culture. We're going to talk about some things. We want y'all to give y'all opinion on in the chat, if you will.
We've had this discussion like 5 times. Travis don't watch real black skits or shows.
All right.
You're a skit.
So I saw this right here. Somebody posted this, and it says, at my dentist's office, and this was the first thing I noticed. Definitely jumped for joy. So this person was happy that they saw this. No bonnets, no house shoes, no pajama bottoms.
Ain't that the same thing Monique said like a year ago about you going to the airport traveling? Look decent when you come out of the house and not have on bonnets, house shoes, pajamas.
Now this goes into the respectability politics.
Exactly.
Now is that something we want to support?
What you support as far as what?
Because back in the day, a lot of black men and women, you saw black men walk around in 3-piece suits 24/7 to gain a certain level of esteem in society.
I don't think nobody's asking for anybody to walk around in 3-piece suits. I think we're simply asked that you look decent when you come out of the house and not look like you rolled out of the bed and just went out the door.
But when does something go from being a cultural thing to being degenerate?
That's a cultural thing. Walking around looking like you
just got out of bed.
Walking around like you in your night clothes all day.
I'm just saying. I mean, there was a school in Texas that banned it too. The principal banned it from happening. They said how you look in public is a representation, not just of you. We don't like to say this. When you go out in public, you're representing your family. But when you go out in public around other races, you're also representing your race. You're the image.
Yes.
So when you walk into a school or a dentist's office with a bonnet or a do-rag with house shoes on and pajamas, you do look a little. It's not.
It's a representation.
It's not professional.
Hey, I can't be mad at that post. I agree with the sign. We have to dress for combat when we are in a race war.
I agree.
I actually ain't mad at this. First live I've been on y'all.
Oh, that's good. What's up, man?
Combat doesn't mean all physical.
It's a spiritual war too.
Physical.
It's a spiritual war. It's a physical war, and it's a social. It's not social. Cultural war.
True.
Like I said, it's a battle on what is we gonna continue to do.
It's not just that. Walking around sagging pants, half off your ass.
I agree. That's another thing.
Do rags too.
Let me say this. Now I grew up in an environment where this is not a positive thing, but what I grew up in an environment where dudes will walk around with their pants sagging on the corner, and then when the cops come and chase them, your pants sagging. So you get so I know it's not a positive reason to not sag.
But you're saying if you had your
pants up, you get away.
If you had your britches pulled up,
your britches, you would get away.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly, because some of them cops was
track
stars.
Some of them was donut eating.
Yeah, some of them they ain't chasing. That was back in the day. This is the early 2000s when cops didn't chase you. They didn't shoot you as often in the public in front of people, but it didn't chase you either. They would just kind of go, all right, you got away this time.
Yeah.
So.
But let them continue dressing that way.
Yeah, 1/3. It's going to happen.
True.
We can't control it.
So many wars, y'all. Keep God first. That's absolutely true.
Exactly. All right, so the next part of the culture we're going to talk about, and this is the one, we just played this song to start the show, since we talked about Raise Up Thy Child.
The original and the Stair Steppers?
Yeah, the
5 Stair Steppers and Tupac.
That's what he sampled the song from. So it's Tupac Shakur to be honored with a street name in California. A stretch of street where Shakur once lived in Oakland.
Shout out to Brilliantly Flawed.
Oh, what up, what up?
Peace to the gods and goddesses.
It says, Tupac Shakur to be honored with a street name in California. A stretch of street where Shakur once lived in Oakland will keep its existing name, but also get an additional honorary name, Tupac Shakur Way.
He was born in Harlem, New York.
So, yeah, he was born in, but he
went to Baltimore.
He repped Cali, though. He repped the West. All right, so this one I'm gonna ask. I love Tupac's music. I love his music, most of it at least. But I'm gonna ask the question: at what point do we look at him and say, was he a positive image for young black people?
Some of the songs that he did show.
No, I'm not talking about the songs. See, that's what we got to separate the artist.
You're talking
from the
about his personal life,
what he did in public, how he carried himself, constantly referred to himself as part of thug life.
He was an agent of chaos.
That too. But should Tupac be held in such high reverence that he is now?
No, he wasn't George. Discreet is fine, but enough for the symbolism. What about reparations check? Name's Tupac.
Tupac reparations.
And he was on the deep.
Oh, George. He was on the down low.
Control
prove
opposition.
That. So Tupac said a lot of profound things. I watched a lot of his interviews. He said a lot of profound things. But some of his actions did not meet with the things he said. And some of his actions did. But I feel like them constantly rehashing Tupac and the image of the black thug, or should I say the conscious thug. That image
that's what Nipsey Hussle was trying to be.
When they kind of try to make him that.
And he couldn't be that.
And no offense, but no one knew who the hell Nipsey Hussle was.
He's not even a tether. He is East African.
No one knew who he was. God. Tupac was a character. I agree. He was an actor.
Tupac got...
Oh, now that's a rumor.
Mystery man.
We're not doing rumors,
man.
mystery.
Allegedly, Tupac got raped in prison. What up, Brilliant Lee? What up, Regina? Tupac killed prison.
There y'all go. So when we talk about what our culture is right now, Tupac is one of the at the forefront of as an image, especially for the young black male, and even as a desired mate for the young black women. Like, people always say this stuff about how some black women like the thug, they want to date the thugs. Well, Tupac might be one of the reasons why that is. Once again, because he seemed conscious, he seemed intelligent, he made good music, but he also was a guy who connected himself to gangs and was seen as violent. Or is that violence or protection?
Yeah.
So I think that confuses a lot of the younger women when they see a guy like that. So that image is destructive on both sides.
What up, G? Come on, Travis.
So we're going to continue this.
No, Tupac is a Tyler Perry character before Tyler Perry got popular.
You know, it's funny because a lot of his characters do have that. What's his name? Shamar Moore.
Tupac was an MK Ultra asset. That's what he was. Point blank period. Agent of chaos. Meant to distract black folks. So yeah.
Okay.
George, don't be... I'm not reading that.
Don't be fooled.
I'm not reading that. No. If it's a typo in it, I ain't reading it. I'm not doing it no more. I told you to check your fucking phone before you type stuff, George. I ain't doing it no more. Tupac was black male masculinity in hip hop, which we lack in our culture.
Was he? Was he positive black male masculinity?
He didn't say positive.
I agree. He didn't say positive.
He just said male masculinity.
I guess you could say he was a form of it, but was he a positive form of it?
I think there was some things that he said was positive, but
something
his actions that he did, like you said, didn't match up to what he rapped about. Didn't match up to what he did in real life.
Not all the time. Sometimes
not all the time.
Yeah. Next up, we're talking about the kids. Durham, North Carolina Hillside High School gym teacher gets assaulted by a student. I'm not going to read through the article. I'm just pay attention how this keep happening. Go ahead.
Ask Jada, Mr. Man. So you can't show real black men love. You sell out. How am I sell out?
He was a balanced form of it.
You're going to read my hit
and I love
it.
I don't know if I can say he was a balanced form of Eastwood. I think he leaned into, like, a lot of people think that when you see a dude who's hyper aggressive and all this type of stuff, they consider that to be a hyper form of masculinity. I think that's a lack of masculinity. Being hyper emotional, hyper quick to react. I can't say he's balanced.
Why you gotta throw Sassy Shantae under the bus? We already had this discussion earlier in the chat, George. I got on her too. I said that North Virginia education that y'all bragged about, Baltimore education. What's going on? And she said, "Hey, it's the iPhone. I have it on autocorrect."
I told you.
All right. I said, okay.
So back to this. Durham, North Carolina Hillside High School gym teacher gets assaulted by a student. I'm not going to show the video. It shows this lady getting beaten by a student. Well, this is happening.
Yes, Travis is hyper emotional. No, I'm hyper passionate, nigga. It's a difference.
It seems like this is becoming a normal thing with these students putting hands on teachers. And then another time it happened, student pushes teacher in face over cell phone. So what is going on where these students in school feel confident enough to put their hands on a teacher?
I don't know. Oh, sorry. I get wrapped up in the comments. Repeat it again. I apologize. See, I be trying to read your comments and I be focused and trying to listen to Dude, and Dude be over here catching little attitudes. But y'all don't see that though.
Now, how can
You're
attitude?
hyper fruity. Fuck you, George. Really, G-Dub? See, even she feel that way. Eastwood said, like I said, he was a balanced form of it, like most of us. That's pretty much what he said.
So we could agree to disagree.
There's a distinct difference. You fucking Umar. See? Wow. Yeah, you better apologize. The student beatdowns is a setup for teachers being armed to eliminate the threat. The threat equals black kids.
And
that sounds...
That's plausible. But the point I'm making is, what is going on in our culture where the kids feel comfortable putting hands on teachers? They don't respect authority at all.
I think that we live in an era where the parents don't want people touching their kids.
Well, we talked about that before, yeah.
So because they don't do, you're not allowed to put your hands on the kids now feel like, hey,
so
if you take something of mine, I have a right to defend myself and take it back.
Do you believe that the lack of a threat of violence against kids creates disrespect? Is that the only way you can gain respect from kids is with the threat of violence?
Besides your father.
That's a threat of violence even from your father.
Normally, fathers don't really. When they have that natural authority, they don't really have to. Mothers too.
There's always that thin line of a threat. Even when your mama give you that look,
yeah, I was about to say
your father give you that look, it's like, do what I tell you to do. There's a threat of violence.
See, I was good. I never got those looks.
So because it's taken out of the schools, is that what's creating what we have now?
Brilliantly flawed. Fuck them kids. Y'all know they ain't learning shit. They don't respect family and friends. Those single mothers raising kids. Damn. Mystery Man says somebody had to say it.
So this is associated. That's another thing I'm going to. In the song we talked about, a lot of this can come, like you said, that natural authority that a man carries over his children. Is it because that's not in the house? Even though we see that that's in the household in some situations, and the kids still act out a certain way.
Well, that's because somebody running the household. Again, this is an article that is skewed. We have to see the entire story and get all the facts. I beat down a school bus driver for calling me a nigga.
That's a difference, though. There's a difference in that.
Social engineering is real as fuck, but black people know nothing about that. LOL, Brandley, just like the Kurt Franklin meme. Yeah, Travis never get treated bad like real black folks.
Hold on, that's not a good point, George.
People since Travis don't watch the Boondocks and give him a token pass.
Okay, so now that leads up to our main point about the parents and their input.
Was it that? I was just a respectable kid, and my parents didn't have to give me that look.
Steven Jackson calls out NBA hypocrisy after Ja Morant gun video. Make it make sense. So Ja Morant, $200 million athlete, has his father in his life. I believe his mother's in his life too.
I believe so.
And look what he's doing. Well, he's riding around with his friends in his car.
With guns.
Flashing the guns. Now this is another thing to this. There should be nothing wrong with having a gun. There's nothing wrong with him showing a gun. But because of the Black American culture and how it has been stereotyped.
The image.
And the image in the stereotype of our culture, whenever you say young black male holding a gun, listening to hip hop, it's automatically attached to gang member, violent, antisocial behavior type things. So having a gun is not bad. Listening to hip hop is not bad. But when a young black male
does it with a group of other black males,
it's automatically, they're a little gang over there.
Gang affiliated. That's what they see.
I remember when, speaking of, we talking about LeBron earlier, I remember when Phil Jackson referred to his friends group, his business partners, as clique. So immediately the black image, particularly the young black male, is always this double standard towards his actions. And is it our fault? Because the song he listened to.
So who do we blame?
I said the family unit. The lack of it.
Try to respect his white elders. We got white elders?
I don't know.
He fetches them raw cotton from the field with no gloves or knee pads. Should not be punished for being a gun owner. Again, we're letting white daddy change the rules.
That's what I'm saying. It's a double standard because I'm going to show
His soft.
that it's him holding the weapon. And his friend tried to help him. When he immediately, when his friend put the camera on him, he immediately started showing the gun. The friend took the camera away like, dang, chill. Then they show him standing on top of the car. It's just like, he's doing too much. Now, the funny part is with Stephen Jackson. I'm going to play this video by Stephen Jackson, what he had to say.
The mystery man. What's the big deal? He has a gun. Big deal. Eastwood, we have been punished if he was outside busting shots with his homies listening to Travis Tritt.
What up, world? Oh, some quicks is a lot of y'all have comprehension. My brother died. I called my little nephew because my nephew wanted to be just like him. Ja called him, showed him some love. I want him to be like Ja, but I don't want my little nephew to be holding guns and thinking holding guns is cool. So Ja deserves all the punishment he's going to get, all that. He has to be held accountable. But we have to make it make sense. ESPN, and it was a couple games where the Memphis Grizzlies was coming out, and they playing these same songs, making the gun signs to the camera and marching out, getting ready to go play that game, and it was all cool. The NBA, every event, you have these same rappers rapping these same lyrics about guns and shooting at all your events. Just make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Yes, Ja needs to be held accountable. Holding guns and all that is not cool. I don't do it. I don't stand for it. I don't support it. But at the same time, make it make sense. That's all I'm saying.
That's what Virginia just said. You can go through them.
How about blame the person making the choices?
That's a
Travis Tritt, country singer. I'm sorry, man, but nigga retarded. Retarded action should not be acceptable. Y'all think in gun obsession in our
NRA,
NRA America, this wouldn't even be an issue, brand or not. This is the NBA trying to take the position with gun control.
All right, pause.